please raise your right hand? You do solemnly swear any testimony you're about to give the court and the jury regarding this trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please state your name for the record.
Ciara Linden.
And could you spell your first and last name?
Ciaralanden.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Ciara?
Yep.
Okay, I'm saying it incorrectly. Thank you. Ciara, thank you for coming in. How old are you?
I'm 26.
And what do you do for a living? What are you doing?
I am a graphic designer.
Okay. And did you go to college?
I did.
Where'd you go to college?
University of Rhode Island.
And where did you grow up?
Coventry, Rhode Island.
And where did you go to high school?
Coventry High School.
Okay. And when did you graduate from college?
2014. Oh wait, college?
Yes.
2019.
And so, are you a freelance graphic designer, or?
I work for the University of Rhode Island.
Okay. And you know why you're here today?
I do.
I want to talk to you about June 23rd, 2021, about 8 o'clock at night. And your father, James Linden, picked you up. Where did he pick you up?
He picked us up from the Kingston Amtrak station. I think that's what it's called. The train station.
Okay. And what car did he pick you up in?
He picked us up in a green car, Subaru. I think so.
Okay. And you're not very good at cars, are you?
No, I am not.
Okay. And how many doors on the car?
There are four doors on the car.
Okay. And you said he picked you up and someone else. Who else did he pick up?
He picked up my girlfriend, Katie Reedy.
Okay. And where do you guys reside? What town?
We live in Kingston.
Live together?
Mm-hmm.
And you both got in the car?
Yep,
Was your father still driving?
he was.
And where were you seated?
I was seated next to him.
And in the front passenger seat?
Correct.
And where was your girlfriend Katie seated?
She was seated in the back on the left side.
So behind your father?
Yep.
And had you been on some kind of a trip?
Yes, we had just been in Pennsylvania.
And so eventually you make it to Route 3, Newsneck Hill Road.
Yep.
Are you familiar with that road?
I am very familiar with that road.
Driven it many times?
Mhm.
Did you take that to school?
No, but it's kind of near where I grew up.
Okay. I'm in high school. Is that how you get to your high school? Or?
No, but it's right near there.
Okay. And Wicked Good Pizza, are you familiar with that?
I'm
establishment?
familiar where the establishment is. I haven't eaten there before.
And so as you're approaching the Wicked Good Pizza on your right, you're headed into Coventry, north, correct?
Correct.
All right. And tell us what catches your eye as you're headed north on Newsneck Hill Road.
I saw a car leaving the pizza restaurant and a man chasing after the car.
And do you remember anything about that car that was backing up?
It was a dark car. Yeah.
Minivan, sedan,
Um,
station wagon?
I would call it like a regular car, not like a truck. I'm not sure the specifications.
Okay, dark in color.
Yep.
And what's the first thing you remember? You remember it backing out? That's the first thing you remember?
The first thing I remember, sorry. I remember, I remember the man chasing the car.
Okay. And where was the man in relation to the car? So let me rephrase this, right? Where was the car in relation to Route 3? If this is Route 3 running right to my left, where's that car coming out?
It was not parallel, it was perpendicular, right? Yeah.
Perpendicular means
Yes, thank you.
90-degree angle.
Yes.
Okay. So the car was perpendicular to what?
The road.
And was its back perpendicular to the road or its front perpendicular to the road?
I remember its front being perpendicular to the road.
Okay. This is the dark car we're talking about.
Hmm.
You've seen video of this, have you not?
I have.
Okay. You've seen a truck in the video?
Yes.
Did you take note of that truck while this was happening?
I remember seeing it near the pizza place. I assumed it was a vehicle for the pizza place.
Okay. And that's the last you remember about it?
Yeah.
Okay. So in your memory, the dark car is perpendicular to Route 3.
Hmm.
And you said you see a man coming out. Where is that man coming from and where does he go to?
The moment I saw him, he appeared to be running from the location of the pizza restaurant towards the front of the car.
Okay. And if the car is facing, well, if you're the driver of that car,
Hmm.
and that's the front of the car,
Hmm.
and right here is Route 3,
Hmm.
where is the man coming from? You said he's coming from the pizza place?
Yep.
Do you remember if he comes around the passenger side, the driver's side?
I remember him coming around the driver's side.
Okay. And what do you remember about the man?
I remember that he had red pants on and a shirt that I would describe as swishy, like a big t-shirt.
And you remember, I'm sorry, you said they were red pants.
Yep.
That you remember?
Mhm.
And what color was the shirt? Do you remember?
It was like a neutral shade, so a white or a gray.
Spoken like an artist, a neutral shade. Okay. All right, so in your memory, he comes around the passenger side of that car.
Mhm.
So from the back of the car to the front of the car?
I would describe it as more diagonal. So, not like tightly close to the car, but like coming around from his car.
Okay, so coming around this way, you mean?
No, like where you're standing, basically.
Okay. At any point, did you see him going in front of the car?
Yes.
All right.
He ran in front of the car.
All right. Tell us what happens when that man gets in front of the car.
I saw him put his hands on the hood of the car.
You just made a motion with both hands.
Yep,
Is that what you remember?
that is what I remember.
And when he is in front of the car and he has both hands on front of that car, do you remember whether or not the car was moving?
The car had stopped when he put his hands on the front of the car.
And could you tell, so right before he put his hands on the car, or right before he got in front of the car, was the car moving?
Yes, I think it was about to, yeah.
Okay. If it was moving.
Yes, it was moving.
Okay, I don't mean to be difficult.
It's okay.
But if it was it moving, how would you characterize the speed?
Slow.
When you saw that man coming around the side of the car, could you get a look at his face? Could you determine anything about his demeanor?
I saw like a frantic look on his face.
You said in an earlier statement that you were afraid of the guy immediately. Why did you say that?
I was afraid of the man because the situation didn't seem normal.
And what about that man made you feel that way?
Well, he put his hands on the front of the vehicle. He had a skip in his step. It didn't seem like a controlled moment. Yeah.
Okay. So take us through it. His hands are on the front of that car. Is that a fluid movement from the side of the car to the front of the car?
That's what I remember, yes.
And then from the front of the car, how long are his hands on the car and how long is he in front of that car?
I would say for just a moment.
Okay. And where does he go from there?
From there, he goes around the front corner of the car.
Which corner are you talking about?
The corner that the driver would be on.
Okay, so if you're the driver,
Yep.
the car engine is in front of you.
Yep. So like the left of, if you're facing from the car.
Okay, so if you're the car,
Mhm.
he's coming around this side,
Yep.
and how does he do so? Does he stay close to the car? Does he get away from the car?
I remember sort of skipping action. I think he may have pushed off the front of the car.
A skipping motion,
Hmm.
pushing off the car. What portion of the car, if this is the hood in front of you, what portion of the car is he pushing off?
The left of the hood.
Okay, so you're left as the driver,
Hmm.
somewhere up here,
Yes.
and he comes around to the driver's side?
Yes.
And where does he go from there? What happens from
In the motion of hitting off the car, I saw a swish of his shirt, and then he had a gun in his hand.
Did you see him reach for that gun?
It was so quick that no, it was just there now.
And the swish of that white shirt is what
Yeah.
you remember?
Yep.
Did you see him reach right, left, front, back, anything like that?
No.
So, do you remember what hand it appeared to?
I don't
The-
remember, no.
Okay.
Only one hand. It was in one hand.
Do you remember what color it was?
No, I don't.
Are you familiar with firearms?
I am not.
Okay. But it was unmistakably a firearm in your mind?
Yes.
In your mind, take you back just a second or two. In your mind, when he had his hands on that hood, could you see him saying anything?
I did not.
Could you hear anything from
I-
that man during this entire encounter?
I could not.
And what was your impression as to why he was in front of that car?
I thought that he was a pizza employee chasing after someone who may have just stolen a pizza.
And you thought he was trying to do what to the car?
I thought he was trying to stop the car.
Did you see that car lurch into him and push him away?
It lurched because the man was running in front of a moving car, but then it stopped.
And it stopped. And then the man moved across to your left?
Yep.
And where was he? Again, I'm sorry to be using the witness box as an automobile. But where was he when you saw that firearm come out?
He was looking right at the window.
Okay? I'm going to move from the front of that vehicle to the back,
Mhm.
and you stop me when you saw that firearm, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to shuffle along.
Mhm. Probably around right there.
Right here. And about this distance, if this is the window of the car, the driver's side window, how far away was he from the actual vehicle?
He was extremely close, maybe a foot away.
A foot from the window.
Yeah.
Maybe even closer than I am to the door right here. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And you said he had a skip in his step was that when he came around the car?
Yes.
And he put his hand on the car?
Yes.
Did he like vault over almost?
Yes.
Did you see both of his feet kind of leave the ground as he rounded
Yes.
the car?
That's what I mean by skipping.
Okay. So you said you're about a foot away from the glass there at the position you've already set. Did you see that firearm in one hand, two hands, or some other way?
One hand.
And did you see it directed towards anywhere? Up, down, straight ahead?
It was directed straight ahead of the car.
I'm going to recreate it. You tell me if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Approximately here?
Yep. I would actually shift you slightly to the left.
Your left.
Yeah, right there.
So basically a 90-degree angle
Yes.
from the driver?
Yep,
Approximately this distance, maybe a little closer?
correct.
And the gun out in his hand in front of him.
Yes,
One hand?
yes.
Did you see that firearm go off?
I did not.
Did you hear it?
I did hear it, yes.
How soon after, well, did you hear, in relation to that firearm being raised,
Mhm.
did you hear the firearm go off before or after?
Before or after what?
After the firearm was raised to that window.
I heard the noise. Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Sure. When the firearm was raised.
Yes.
Here, I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear it while it was raised here, or before it was raised, or after?
I heard it directly after it was raised.
And what did you do?
We were driving by, and the angle of the man's weapon was aimed in such a way that we were driving by at just the same time. So us in the car were kind of panicking. My father said, "Get down," and my girlfriend got down. I don't think I got down. I kept watching, and just at the moment that we passed, we heard the noise.
So did you actually see a flash from the firearm?
No.
Is that because you don't remember, or you were not looking that way?
We had just passed them.
And between the firearm being raised and you said the noise, the report of that firearm came shortly thereafter, how much time between the raising of it and the fire?
Not even half a second.
Now, Exhibit 13. Recognize Exhibit 33, states Exhibit 33?
Yes.
What do you recognize that to be?
It was the drawing I made when giving my first testimony.
You have a first statement to the police.
Statement, yes.
That's okay. You drew that?
Mm-hmm. I did.
You're a graphic artist? I'm just preparing the jury for what they're about to see. You put the envelope on the overhead, please. No objection to state 33 full?
No objection. 33 is full.
Okay. Let's start with what's clear here. Your name and your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Wicked Good Pizza is what you wrote here.
Yes.
Okay. So, why don't you come down if you could?
In front?
Please. Okay, I'm going to hand you this pen. You have to keep your voice up because everybody needs to hear it. I'm going to ask you to point out in this drawing, unless you feel more comfortable going up here.
Whatever you think is best.
I think you might be best if you came right up here.
All right.
And why don't you direct us to where is Route 3?
This is Route 3.
Okay, so on the left side of this picture. And these are the two lanes of travel?
Yes.
Okay. So, if I may, this line here, is that the edge of the parking lot?
That is, yes.
All right, and what is this scribbled out form here?
It was our car. When I was drawing this, I couldn't remember which lane we were.
Okay. So, you wrote, people who saw our vehicle. What is this right here?
I think somebody, I thought someone was near us or alongside us. Yeah, or it was us. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Okay, that's okay. All right, but to your best recollection, were you in the right lane of Route 3 or the left lane of Route 3 heading north?
I think I was in the right lane.
Okay. And let's try to figure out, okay, so this here is the pizza place, and the parking lot is a rectangle or square coming out this way, correct? All right. Man with the red pants. That's what that is?
Yes.
Okay. And you testified earlier that your recollection is that he came around the side of that dark vehicle from the passenger side, or excuse me, from the driver's side, correct?
Yes.
And came in front of the vehicle.
Yes.
Is this the dark colored vehicle that you're talking about?
Yes.
What's this?
At that moment, that was the back of the car. I was trying to illustrate them turning around and going like, I
Okay.
don't think I gave enough room in the parking lot.
That's all right, but this is to exhibit that the dark car, when it backed out of that parking lot,
Yeah.
actually may have come into Route 3 or onto the shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it moved forward.
Sorry, I'm getting confused. Can you re-explain?
That's okay. Let me jump forward, because the other thing that we recognize is here's the white pickup truck, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you've testified earlier that the car, the dark car that we're focused on here, was perpendicular to Route 3, right?
Yes.
Perpendicular to me means like the front of the car was like this.
Yes.
Okay, and that's what you mean.
Yes.
But you didn't draw it that way.
No.
All right, that's okay. But in your drawing, is this the front of a vehicle?
It was at different times as it was moving.
I see. Okay. Well, that clarifies it for us, because you do say the front of the vehicle is up here.
Yeah.
Is this drawing evolving as you're speaking to the police?
Yes, it was. They had offered us a paper to, or they offered me a paper to get my thoughts out. It wasn't extremely specific.
Okay. So, this is the dark colored vehicle.
Yes.
Let's imagine that it's perpendicular. It is not here, but let's imagine. Is this a person?
Yes, that is the man with the red pants.
And that's the man with the firearm.
Yes.
And why did you put it here? On the side of that driver's side here?
Because when the car was pulling out this way, so this motion was it turning around and then aiming this way.
Mm-hmm.
Once he had ran over, he was next to the driver's side window.
Okay. So is this approximate, or is this an approximate location from where you saw him level that firearm?
Yes.
On the side, the driver's side of the vehicle?
Yes.
Thank you for explaining that.
This is beautiful.
That's full, 33 years.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Linden. Now, as you move away from the shot being fired, take us from there. the shots fired, you're driving past, and tell us what happens.
We hear the noise, and so we are all panicking. My father starts to pull over to the side of the road to call the police.
Where did he start to do that?
Alongside the right-hand side of the road.
Still on Route 3?
Yep. And I was saying to him, we shouldn't do it right there, just in case that the person came after us. So while on the call, we kept driving and parked at I think it's a hookah bar lounge. Yes.
And what person were you afraid of coming after you?
The man with the red pants.
With the firearm?
Yes.
And so you pulled into the hookah lounge. I think you named it the Havana Lounge?
Yes.
And you pulled into that parking lot? And what happened there?
That was when my father continued the call, and he spoke to whoever was on the other side.
And after the 911 phone call, where did you go from there?
From there, we drove towards, we went the long way home because we were still afraid that someone could be following us.
So you had no idea what had gone on in that parking lot?
Yes.
And I think about a week later is when you went in to talk to the police, is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
Your statement is on June 30th, so exactly a week
Yes.
later.
Yes.
And where did you go to leave that statement?
I spoke at the University of Rhode Island. After I spoke, my girlfriend Katie then spoke to the investigator as well.
What's Katie's last name?
Reedy.
How do you spell Reedy?
Riedy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Afternoon.
Hello.
Red pants, you know he wasn't wearing red pants, right? You know he wasn't wearing red pants, right? The name.
His pants appeared to be red.
He also appeared to be shorts to you that night. Did you say that?
I did say that,
And he
yes.
clearly wasn't wearing shorts, was he?
It was, I remembered a swish of his fabric.
You thought you saw shorts.
Yes.
Now, you said, as the man came across the front of the car, he had a frantic look in his face, right?
Yes.
A skip in his step. True?
Yes.
Seemed like an uncontrolled moment. Right?
Yes.
And all in that one fluid motion is when he pulled out the weapon.
No, that I saw him as he approached the front of the vehicle. When he pulled out the weapon, I couldn't see his face.
I want to go over, you testified.
Mm-hmm.
In one fluid motion, I saw the swish of the shirt and the gun in one hand.
That was after he'd already put his hands on the hood. Yes.
All right, so put his hands on the foot, he had to be in front of the car, right?
Yes.
With a frantic look on his face, correct?
I did not see a frantic look until while he ran to the front of the car.
And a skip in the step in an uncontrolled moment, right? Right. True?
Yes.
Aren't you describing someone jumping out of the way of a vehicle to avoid getting run over, and at the same time pulling the swish of the shirt, pulling a weapon out?
When You are combining two different parts of the story of what I saw.
That's what you said. Right?
I saw the look on his face as he went to the front of the car. He put his hands on the car. After that, when he went around the corner of the car to the driver's window, I did not see his face during that interval.
Point was, it was all one fluid motion, right?
From the front of the vehicle to the window, it was a fluid motion.
During that fluid motion was when you saw him reach, you saw the swish of his shirt.
Yes.
And that's when you saw the gun come out.
Yes.
You wouldn't believe it, Oh. Now, as you were approaching, as you got close to the vehicle, as your vehicle got close to it, you were concerned that your car was going to hit the vehicle, right?
I was
That
not
coming out.
afraid of the vehicle. I was
Oh.
afraid of the man's firearm.
My question to you is, as your vehicle was getting close to it, you were concerned that your vehicle was going to hit the black vehicle because of its location.
I was
Yeah.
never afraid of the dark car's vehicle hitting our vehicle because it had stopped.
I have a copy of the flag statement.
Yes.
You. C, put two you on for identification?
What is it?
C2. Okay, I'm going to take a look at question 27. Lines 27 to 32. It would be on page 5, question 27. Have you located that?
Yep, I have found it.
All right. 27. I should also say that the guy was trying to pull out, but because we were coming, he stopped before he pulled out, and that was when the man in the red pants had caught up. So there was an opportunity for the car to have pulled out, but it would have hit us. So the person didn't come out.
Yes.
Okay? Is that what you were referring to, that if the car had come out, it would have hit you?
Yes, but it had stopped.
So there was some concern on your part that there might have been a collision.
I was not concerned because the car had stopped. I was concerned about the firearm.
There was no firearm at that point, was there?
There was when. What point are you?
As
What
you were
point?
approaching the vehicle,
Yes, the firearm was drawn as we were approaching the vehicle.
and that's when you saw the man come around in front of the vehicle, as you described, with the swishing motion, right?
Yes.
Now, I want to be confirmed, that's up at the front corner of the car, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you say that's when the shooting happened, as your vehicle passed the black car, right?
I saw the swishing motion before our vehicle passed. I saw the gun drawn before our vehicle passed. The noise of the gun firing occurred after our vehicle passed.
And this was all instantaneous, like I think you said a half a second.
It was very fast, yes.
And you passed it in the same direction that the black car was going, right?
The black car was aimed at the road. I imagine they would turn to the right, but they weren't in the process of turning.
Okay. So when you passed the black car, it was still facing the road,
Yes,
and your dad kept driving forward.
yes.
If anything, faster than he had been just a moment before, right?
Say that again?
Did he change his speed?
My dad, did he change his, no, my dad did not change the speed of his
Kept
car.
going forward,
Yes,
while the car was facing the road.
yes.
At some point in time, you've seen the video of the car leaving the parking lot?
Yes, I did see the video.
That was less than 2 seconds before you passed it.
Yes, I imagine. In the video, you can see our car approaching.
Right, and you saw the times on that.
I did not see the specific time. I do not know how fast the incident took place.
All right. Madam Clerk, my computer, please.
One moment.
Linden, you recognize your vehicle at 21:15:31, right?
Yes,
You recognize your vehicle at 21:15:33,
yes,
and you see the black vehicle, right?
yes,
Okay. So if your testimony is accurate, then this black vehicle sometime before .33 was facing perpendicular to the highway here.
that is what I remember, yes.
And then somehow within a span of less than 2 seconds, it turned to the right, went by this fire hydrant, and went in the same direction.
Would you say that again? I couldn't hear you.
Sometime within a span of 2 seconds, it turned to its right, started heading north, past the hydrant, in the same direction your car.
I do not remember that. I do not know what way it was turning.
Just looking at the photos you're looking at, which here is A22, it makes sense that if it was facing the highway, it had to turn to its right, and according to your memory.
I cannot make out which angle it is in this picture.
How about that picture? A23.
Yes, I see that the car is on the road now.
Facing north.
Yep.
So it stands to reason as you passed it, it was no longer perpendicular to the road, it was facing north, wasn't it?
Not when we passed it. It appears immediately after.
Okay. So when you passed the vehicle, the front of the black car was facing Route 3.
Yes.
Now, shortly after this incident, you recall your father pulling over
Yes.
and checking his car because he was concerned that a bullet might have struck it.
I was checking the car.
Your father was checking it as well, wasn't he?
Yes.
Was Katie also checking it?
No, Katie was not checking the car.
So just you and your dad were checking the car?
From the inside. Yes.
You were checking a car out of concern a bullet might have struck it.
Yes.
You only heard one shot, right?
Yes.
So you must have, to think that, you must have had a concern when you saw the gun that the gun was facing in the direction of your vehicle.
Yes.
Right? And if he was standing on the driver's side of the vehicle, as you now claim, his back would have been to you when you passed it, right?
Can you rephrase that?
If he was standing facing the driver's window,
Yes.
then his back, or perhaps his left shoulder, you must have thought it was
Right.
facing you.
The vehicle lurched forward somewhat, and his angling was no longer directly on the 90-degree angle. It was slightly ajar from the 90-degree angle. So I was afraid that the bullet would enter through the driver's side window and go through the front window of the vehicle towards us.
So now, if the black vehicle is facing more to its right, more of the man's back is now facing you, right? You passed it, right?
No, it was not.
Well, do you know which direction the black vehicle was facing as you passed it?
It was facing the road.
Its front was facing the road.
Yes.
Okay. So if your testimony is accurate, then you used the witness box before. The man, you said, was here pointing a gun,
Yes.
right? That means you were driving by this way, correct?
Yes.
And there is no way, Ms. Linden, that you could have a concern at this point that this bullet could come out the front of that gun and somehow hit your car, which is on that side. That is true, is it not?
It was. I was afraid that by the time our momentum brought us to the other side of the vehicle, that the bullet could go through.
But you only heard one shot, right?
Yes, we heard the shot after we passed the vehicle.
You never felt an impact to your vehicle,
No, we did not.
but you still checked it for damage from a bullet.
Yes.
And you're saying you thought that the bullet might travel through the vehicle to the other side of the other window and somehow hit your car.
Yes.
Okay, again, your car is here. I'm here. The bullet will go in the direction of the judge, right?
No, you would have the car lurched forward, so you would be diagonal to the window slightly, and the firearm was pointed in the driver's window, and so it would have, in our minds, while we were passing, gone through the front window if the man's aim was not accurate.
You had already passed the vehicle, right?
At what point?
The point that you passed it, though, the man is still on the driver's side window, as you claim. You passed it. True?
I am not sure what you're asking.
I'm asking, when you claim that the man was on the driver's side of the window, and at that point is when you passed the vehicle.
We did pass the vehicle while he was at the driver's side, yes.
Okay, so then you couldn't have seen the vehicle lurch forward. You already passed it, right?
It was lurching forward right before we passed it.
You remember seeing the man, I want to get to that point in your testimony. He was in front of the car trying to stop it.
Yes.
All right.
The shot took place when he was at the side of the car, not the front of the car.
Take a look at page 68. I'm sorry, question 68, page 13. Lines 115. You located it?
Yes.
Okay. Question 68. All right. Did you ever see that individual who shoots the gun? Do you ever see him to the front of the vehicle, to the hood of the vehicle? Answer. I do remember. At one point it looked like, so now I'm remembering a little more. I remember from far away the motion, the commotion, I'd said. It looked like he was trying to stop it. I can't remember what side, but I know he was like, he might have been, I'm wondering if from far away, he had seen him trying to stop it from like this side, or also, okay, if the car was facing this way, initially, it kind of looked like maybe the car had like turned around, and then that was when it happened. Does that make sense? Like I question. Mm-hmm. Now follow me. Answer. Because I do remember that image of him trying like stop it. So I was wondering if I saw, say this was the front, and then like quickly, or maybe even went like that. I'm not sure which. Actually, he was right there. It couldn't have been this one. If he had backed up and went that way, and then that was when the guy ran over in front. Question. Mm-hmm. And that's when he did fire the shot. I read that correctly. It was lengthy, but I read that correctly.
Yes, you did.
So we said there, when he ran over to the front, that's when he did fire the shot.
My word choice in that moment was not specific. He did not fire from the front of the car. He fired from the front driver's side of the car. When I said front, I meant the front half of the car.
But you didn't say the front half of the car, you said front of the car. Right?
You are correct.
That's very specific. This one. Right? Right?
What do you mean?
Front. It means front.
Yes.
Not front half, not driver's side, it means front of the car. Right?
In this instance, I was using front to refer to the front half of the vehicle versus the back half of the vehicle.
But you never clarified that. You just said front.
Correct.
The place where you described that swooshing action of his shirt as it's coming around the corner.
Yes.
You also, I know you talked a few minutes ago about